we welcome you into the Hometown Sports Huddle here on WDBJ Plus. Thanks for spending part of your Tuesday night with me. I'm Dave Walls. We got a lot to do tonight. And first of all, you'll know I'm running solo. That's going to sometimes happen here on the Huddle. There'll be days where I'm not here, but Mitch Carr or Austin Hicks is. Right now, Austin's working on our 11 p.m. show. Mitch just got done with our 6, and he's got some other things to do. So, hey, it's going to be you and me. We're going to huddle up tonight. We're going to have a good time tonight as we have a lot to talk about. You know, we have, first of all, as we mentioned during WDBJ 7 at 6, we'll be talking with Stacy Compton, who is the general manager of Pulaski County Motorsports Park. Very exciting time for them as the park is relaunching, and they were opening up their gates for racing for the first time in a few years. We're going to be talking to him about the rebirth of that track. So, but before we get into that, you may have noticed on WDBJ News at 5, did a little investigative research, if you want to call it, into the best and, let's be honest, the worst ways to pick a March Madness bracket. Now, I'll give you a little background before I show you this story. So years and years ago, I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but let's just say it was years ago before I came here, I was at a position at a company where they were holding a March Madness pool, and the boss of that company came in and said, hey, everybody, I'm going to run a March Madness pool free for everyone to join, and then boom, put a big old stack of cash in the middle and said, you know, good luck, winner takes all. Well, at the time, I'm a broke 20-something-year-old, you definitely want to dive in. So I did what any 20-something-year-old who loves college basketball will do. I studied the heck out of these matchups. I could tell you when a player was born, you know, his injury rate, I mean, you know, how much time he was missing, what he shoots from 3. I had this bracket down to a science. It was winner take all, and I came in second place. And you want to know why? It's because the secretary for the boss, well, she participated. She had never watched college basketball before, but gosh darn it, she voted by prettiest uniforms, and that year, Syracuse won. She liked the color orange. So that's how that went. So I started thinking, all right, so what's the best and worst ways to pick a March Madness bracket? I think you're going to enjoy this. This was a lot of fun. Take a look.
The sounds of March Madness. No, not those sounds. The sounds of millions of brackets being printed out in the hopes of being crowned the bracket champion in your office or amongst your friends.
Yeah, let's be honest. We all know what the odds are of printing out a perfect bracket. It's 9 quintillion. I mean, just look at all those zeros. But, I mean, come on, it's 2026. Modern science has to have figured out a better way to do this, right?
Well, there are several tried and true methods, like just picking your favorite or riding with your alma mater. Yeah, sometimes that works. So what about our modern advances in AI? One scientist, though, at the University of Illinois says, don't get your hopes up with AI.
AI systems are extremely powerful and informative, but they will not solve the perfect bracket problem.
Well, I decided to try anyway. After asking ChatGPT to build my bracket, it gave me a safe answer. Duke's your winner. Well, no surprise there. But when I asked it to make it into a graphic, it suddenly changed its answer to Arizona. And let's be honest, some of the texts and some of these picks are questionable, like Mammy and Mammy playing each other, and what is going on with the national champion? Oh, let's just forget all about this.
All right, so let's try another way. How about picking your favorite uniform color? Miami would certainly be a strong contender. Very flashy.
But after blindly polling the newsroom, I turned it over to my Hometown Sports Huddle partner, Mitch Carr.
I'm going to have to go green.
You're going to have to, that's the one I was really hoping you picked, because your national championship, the Hawaii Warriors.
Yeah, let's not use that bracket.
Well, finally, there's the good old standby, the coin flip. Well, we're going to need to flip it about 65 times.
So that's what I did. Heads is the top team, tails is the bottom team. But the coin finally decided. And who did it pick?
Our national champion is Northern Iowa. Oh, forget that.
The games are played by people on a court, not on a computer. The outcomes are unpredictable, and that means we're going to have upsets.
I give up. My bracket's going to be busted early anyway. Might as well just start it early. Oh, come on. All right, that was obviously a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor. That was a lot of fun, but I really did all these things. I polled our newsroom. You saw Mitch finish it off there with some of, and I'm going to post these online, by the way. This is the bracket for the coin flips, and I know you can't really see it on camera, but I will put it up. Northern Iowa, then the other side, it was Santa Clara. Santa Clara goes on and makes it to the championship game. The other Final Four was it was Florida State and NC State, not just a first four team. They're a Final Four team in this coin flip bracket. Duke went out in the second round. Arizona went out first to LIU. LIU is a 16 seed, makes the Sweet 16. I mean, coin flips are madness, that's for sure. And as far as the favorite colors, you heard me say the Final Four was Louisville, Clemson. Clemson was the orange team that Mitch picked against. And then you had Michigan, and Hawaii was the green team. The Hawaii Fighting Rainbow Warriors. I just like concluding rainbow. I don't know if they still do that anymore. But, yeah, that was a fun one. Mitch's Miami, which I knew the orange and green would throw him off. That's why they made it to the Elite Eight. So it was kind of green and white versus green and orange, and it was the green and white that took it. So there you have it. So, again, we're going to post these on my social media, Dave Walls on Facebook, and also look for this story at WDBJ7.com, and you'll be able to see, we'll be able to kind of just track how these brackets are doing. We'll bring them up here on the Huddle from time to time. That's going to be a lot of fun. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back here on the Hometown Sports Huddle, we'll be sitting down with Stacey Compton. He is the general manager of Pulaski County Motorsports Park, and this is very exciting because the park is really going through a renaissance, relaunching themselves, welcoming a new racing series, one that hasn't even raced before, into the park for multiple races this year, and then also several other things. So you want to stick around for that gig. Give us 2 minutes. We'll be right back at the Hometown Sports Huddle. I have been streaming this whole time since the break, and I didn't turn my microphone on. I'm so sorry, everybody. Day 2. We're getting the hang of it. Hang with me. Welcome back. All right. As we started to mention, Stacy Compton is going to be joining me in this next segment. He is the general manager of Pulaski County Motorsports Park. Now, Stacy, if you're a racing fan, you know his name, of course. Alta Vista and Hurt area native, and he has been racing for nearly all his life. And you've watched him on the local tracks come up through parks like Motor Mile Speedway, now Pulaski County Motorsports Park, South Boston Speedway, and he'd go on to race in the Truck Series, the Cup Series, and now he's the general manager of Pulaski County. And I want to sit down with him and talk a little bit about their opening weekend this weekend as they reopen racing to a new series that has not raced before, and also what is to come this summer at Pulaski County. So let's go now to this interview with Stacy Compton of Pulaski County. Here it is. Oh, no. Is it coming? There it is. Let's sit down with Stacy Compton. All right, welcome back to the Hometown Sports Huddle. I'm Dave Walls. All right, joining me right now, a special guest, Stacy Compton, general manager of Pulaski County Motorsports Park. But you know this man is, if you're a racing fan, native of Hurt, Virginia, and of course has been around our local tracks for a long, long time. Stacy, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. You and I talked we were talking about 8-9 years ago, where we were kind of racing cars through a parking lot in Lynchburg, and that was a lot of fun. Racing just kind of never leaves your blood once it gets in, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this next generation of Pulaski County Motorsports Park. First of all, how did you get involved in this relaunch of the park?
Well, Dave, thanks for having me. Number one, it was kind of interesting. I got a call from some folks with IHRA. You know, they were going to do this touring series, and which I was pretty excited about. The idea that the vision that Daryl with IHRA has is good, and they're trying to figure out a way to basically get racing more affordable, get it back a little bit closer to where it was a few years back. And I was excited about the opportunity to work with the touring series, and came up here and met with them. And first thing you know, they said, how about running the Speedway for us? And I said, well, it's a little bit more than I was thinking initially, but honestly, it's pretty excited about it. Once we started thinking about it and talking about it, praying about it and figuring out if this is the right move or not, was pretty excited about it because it is coming full circle. If you think about, I was back up here in 1988, if we want to start dating ourselves, when the track first reopened back when Steve McMurray had it. Right. And obviously Mr. Hagan did a great job with the facility, with what he's left here for us to work with. One of the nicest facilities you'll find anywhere in the country, as far as I'm concerned. So it was a little exciting once we started looking at it and trying to figure out how we can make it work.
You mentioned, I wasn't going to bring up dates here, but you mentioned, of course, racing here at Pulaski County years and years ago. From a driver's perspective, what is this track like that makes it so unique and so special?
It's fun. I mean, it's fast. It's a lot faster than a lot of people give it credit. The track's in great shape. We've had a lot of testing going on already, getting ready for this weekend, and every driver has said the same thing. Man, I forgot how fast this place was. And along with that, it's got enough room that you can run 2 wide, sometimes 3 wide. And the racing traditionally up here is really good. Obviously, I grew up racing South Boston, Orange County. Here used to be Motor Mile and Lonesome Pine, some tracks like that. And this was always a fast racetrack. You knew when you got ready to come up here, you better be on your game. And this has always been a fast racetrack. And I think that's one thing that people really enjoy about it is it's got some speed to it. It's got some grip. And if you remember back years ago, this place used to pack the stands, and that was exciting when you'd come here and you'd look around and you'd see 3, 4, 5,000 people sitting in the stands. That's a good feeling for race car drivers to see that many people sitting up here.
Yeah, it really is, and you're right. The crowds at the Motor Mile, now Pulaski County Park, so they come out and they support these local drivers. In the past couple of years, we've seen, I'd say, the increased popularity of a lot of these short tracks where you're seeing drivers, like say a Josh Berry, who in his younger days was racing at Pulaski County, break through, not just in the Triple Crown, races like the Valley Star, but then get his launch in the Xfinity, and we're seeing a lot of drivers come up a little bit quicker through the short track scene. Is that really, from your perspective, helped in these new drivers, giving them a new energy to come out to the racetracks each week and really give that much more effort?
Well, I think it is. I mean, if you look, there's been a lot of race car drivers come out of South Boston, come out of this racetrack, come out of Central and Southwest Virginia. A lot of the drivers that have made it, to either Truck Series or the O'Reilly Series or the Cup Series, A lot of drivers have come out of this area. It's just it's competitive. I mean, this is one of the most competitive areas and regions of the country. And it's exciting. I mean, you see a lot of guys that have raced here in South Boston, Orange County, all those racetracks, Dominion, South Side, all those old racetracks. You've seen a lot of really good race car drivers come out of these areas. And I think a lot of people look at these racetracks and think, man, if we can run good there, we can run good anywhere. And they get a lot of attention. I mean, they get a lot of attention from a lot of the owners, a lot of the sponsors that are looking to maybe have a driver move up. They're looking in areas like this, the short tracks where people are, if you run good here, you're gonna pretty much run good anywhere.
We've been talking about your role as a GM here at the track, but let's just flash back for a moment as a driver. What did racing on these tracks, like a Pulaski County Motorsports Park, when you go to South Boston, those kind of tracks, help develop you into a driver that would eventually make the Cup Series? How did you, learn your lessons here on these tracks and, become that determined competitor?
Well, I think you had to be aggressive, but you had to be competitive every week. You couldn't come up here and run good one week and then run in the middle of the back of the pack the next week. You had to be good every single week. And it's learning to be competitive. It's learning to race. It's learning to be competitive with a full field of cars that are competitive. Again, if you come here or any of these racetracks we're talking about and run good consistently, you're running with the best of the best. I mean, you're running with, back then it was, of course, the Sadlers and the Burtons and all those guys were coming through the sport when I was coming through the sport. And if you could run with those guys, you knew you had a shot at least at making it. The sport certainly changed now to where it's a lot of money involved. But still, I mean, you look at kids like Kyle Larson, he's walked into the sport with just raw talent. Nowadays, it's a lot harder to walk into the sport with just raw talent. It usually takes a big checkbook, but there is still some opportunities out there. And you're seeing a lot of the owners now look around and look for guys that, like Kyle Larson, that's just got true talent. And then they'll actually sell the sponsorship around them. But that's hard to do these days. But again, you got to show your talent. You got to show that you're competitive and you're able to step into any series and run good. Before it was just stock car series, but now if you're good on dirt, it really gets their attention. If you're able to run a lot of different classes and be competitive in all of those classes, it gets a lot of the owners' attention because they are looking for that next Kyle Busch or Kyle Larson or Jeff Gordon. I mean, they're looking for that next star to step into the role.
Yeah, and let's talk about a little bit about this series that I see the logo on there, IHRA. I think some racing fans, when they think IHRA, they think, certainly, the racing that's made them famous. But this is kind of a new series that's coming into Pulaski County. Can you tell me about what fans are going to expect if they come to the park this weekend?
It is. I'm excited about it. I mean, if you know anything about IHRA, Daryl Cutler's got a vision, and he's buying a lot of racetracks right now. He's doing a lot of good things. Obviously, they're known for drag racing, but they're basically bringing hopefully a lot of people back to the sport where the sport's gotten so expensive. I mean, even on the late model side, you're spending $20,000, $30,000 a race sometimes to go run a late model show. And we're trying to change that up just a little bit and take it back a little bit to where we're taking the rules back a little bit more to where it used to be and trying to cut the cost on the racing to make it a little bit more affordable. And we're having a great response. I mean, this race is going to pay, I think, $25,000 to win. It pays $4,000 just to start. And that's big numbers. I mean, that's huge numbers for local Saturday night short track racers. And it's a lot of guys are able to bring cars back out that, they've had, that are 3 or 4 years old, where nowadays, if you've got a car that's 3 or 4 years old, it's basically not competitive anymore. They've changed the rules around a little bit to where a lot more people are going to be competitive. Similar, and I say similar to the Cup Series, just simply because they're trying to make the cars a little bit easier to work on, a little bit easier on the rules, and maybe not have the cars basically look like a Cup car that's sucked down to the racetrack. Trying to cut some expenses and make it a little more affordable. And that being said, we've had a ton of interest from a lot of different teams. I mean, we've got people coming from, 4 or 5 different states to come run this event. Wow. So, we're feeling like we're going to have, potentially 25, 30 cars per class. The fans have been awesome. We've had a lot of people coming out. We just had somebody stop by a few minutes ago and said, hey, I want to go ahead and get my tickets because I'm afraid it might be sold out. We don't feel like it's going to be sold out, obviously, but we do feel like we're going to have a great crowd. It's a lot of excitement around the racetrack, a lot of changes. I can't wait for people to get back out here and see it, because it's going to look drastically different than it did last time you were here.
All right, we lost Stacy at the end there, but I want to thank Stacy Compton, Pulaski County Motorsports Park, for joining me here on the Huddle. Exciting times ahead for 2026 as they have opening weekend this upcoming Saturday. That's all for now, but we're coming back for more at the Huddle right after this. All right, we welcome you back to the Hometown Sports Huddle. I'm Dave Walls. All right, as a couple things as we wrap up here tonight. First, thank you so much for watching. We are getting some breaking news into the sports desk here. Bill Pope, the legendary boys basketball coach at Northside High School, has just announced his retirement. 46 years of coaching. He had 3 state championships, and Bill Pope, well-deserved. We'll have more on that tonight on WDBJ7 at 11. Also, a couple things to watch out for tonight. It's the first 4 games. Let's see who we got on our bracket on the first 4 tonight. We have UMBC and Howard, and what's the other 16-city game? Prairie View A&M and Lehigh. Then we also have as the 11 game. It's Texas NC State. That'll be a good one. And then I think the one with a lot of questions is Miami of Ohio and SMU. I think people want to see if Miami of Ohio is legit against some decent competition. SMU was a very tough team in the ACC, so we'll see what they do there. And then also tonight, it's the finals of the World Baseball Classic. Venezuela and Team USA. Team USA has had some great games, and he get that batting up a little bit more as they narrowly defeated the Dominican Republic 2-1. Had a controversial strikeout call, strike 3, to end the game there. But they need the bats to do a little bit more, 2 runs, because Venezuela is coming in hot. All right, that's going to do it for the Hometown Sports Huddle. I'm Dave Walls. Thanks for watching, everybody. You have a great night.